Today with us, I'm very pleased to have two remarkable women. Miss Jasmina Haritani, if I said it correctly, and she is a founder of a very important cultural initiative in Germany for Syrians, and Miss Ruba Mhaysen, who is the founder and director of Sawa for Development and Relief, and a friend. So I would like to ask you today about, first of all, to briefly introduce your initiative to the audience, and also to tell us about what were the major success factors that enabled you to do your work, and also what challenges have you faced. Then we move to talk about what could an effective diaspora network help you to sustain your job now and in the future, regardless of what the situation is on the ground in Syria. So I will start with Jasmina, and please feel free to speak in Arabic or in English. If you could briefly introduce your initiative and tell us about the success and challenges that you've faced.
اسمي ياسمينة حريتاني، لي أصل سوري ولكن خلقانة وربيانة بألمانيا. يعني لسيرة حياتي أنا قبل 2011 كان مجال الشغل الاندماج بألمانيا، ولذلك أنا من أعضاء مجلس الاندماج بمدينة بريمن. The integration board, which is supported by the German government. So integration was always my work before 2011. قبل 2011 بعد 2011 كان تركيزي أولاً على الدعم داخل سوريا، وكنت عامل مع منظمة خيرية يعني هي مقيمة قريب من مدينة بريمن مدينتي. بعد 2013 لاحظت أنه كثير من السوريين وصلوا إلى مدينتي، كانوا عدد الآلاف بهذا الوقت، ووصلوا لحد الآن على بين 20 أو 30 ألف بمدينة بريمن اللي هي فيها 500 ألف سكان الآن. وعلى كل ألمانيا الرقم أعتقد أنه رقم معروف، أنه 1,000,000 لاجئ سوري على الأرض الألمانية من عدد السوريين الدياسبورا السورية اللي كانت موجودة من قبل 2011. بالنسبة للعمل اللي قمنا فيه لاحظنا بال2015 انه يوميا الوصول لألمانيا تقريبا 8 ل 10,000 أشخاص من اللاجئين السوريين على الأرض الألمانية، هذه كانت اللحظة لنا انه يجب ان ناخذ قرار انه كيف ممكن ندعم السوريين اللي وصلوا لألمانيا. وهذا كانت الوقت لي أيضاً التغيير التفكير عندي من الدعم داخل سوريا. لحد الآن الدعم داخل سوريا هذا أهم شيء، ولكن الآن بحاجة السوريين اللي وصلوا لأوروبا بدعم من المجتمع الدياسبورا السورية اللي من قبل 2011 موجودة على الأرض الألمانية أو فرنسا أو بريطانيا، نفس الشيء لكل الدول الأوروبية وأمريكا. أسسنا بالسنة 2016 الجمعية الثقافية السورية في المهجر، وهدف هذه الجمعية الدعم الفن السوري، الصوت السوري بألمانيا، الصورة السوري غير الصورة اللاجئ السوري، لأن بألمانيا وصلنا الآن على مرحلة أنه الشخص السوري يجب أن يكون لاجئ سوري. وصلت معنا، خلوني أحكي لكم مثال من حياتي. ذهبت من قبل 6 شهور إلى مركز من الدولة، وسألوني هل تتكلمين اللغة الألمانية أو أنت من اللاجئين السوريين؟ وجاوبت لهذا الشخص بالدولة الألمانية أنا من السوريين مقيمين من زمان بألمانيا، يعني بإمكانياتي أنه أحكي اللغة الألمانية. ولذلك مثل ما قال الدكتور ناصر من قبل، الصوت السوري عن طريق الثقافة هو أهم شيء الآن ليرجع يتعمر صورة من السوري أنه هو إنسان وله ثقافة وله أصل وله أهداف بأوروبا.
About Sawa, so back in 2011, I was visiting my family who were living in Lebanon at the time, and I heard about the first 40 Syrian families that had just moved from Syria to Lebanon. And at the time, we weren't still okay with the idea of Syrian refugees, because it was literally the first 40 Syrian families. I saw that on the TV and I just went to visit the families. I had no intention in mind to start an organization, like a lot of initiatives at the time. And I checked the families, saw what they needed, sent a message, the message went viral, and really for the first 3 years it was an initiative, like a lot of small initiatives, dealing with relief and education mainly for the Syrian refugees in Lebanon. Now fast forward 7 years, we are today operating in Lebanon and inside Syria. We have a team of 200 individuals, out of whom 80% we recruit from the refugee camps themselves. Now for those who know the Lebanese context, you know that it's not legal for refugees to work in Lebanon, but we create loopholes through using the idea of cash for work or livelihood programs to recruit Syrians into these cash for work programs. So up until this year, we were working in 5 main sectors: relief, education, livelihoods, health, and policy research and advocacy. And the reason why we worked in all of these sectors is because our work was for the community, with the community. So we would enter from in the community of refugee camps and see what the need is on the ground. And from that need, we would devise programs with the community through participatory approaches and community approaches. So for example, we would recruit teachers, trainers, social workers from the communities to run our psychosocial support programs, our schooling programs, our medical programs, etc. Through our policy research and advocacy, we were involved in doing advocacy at the local, regional, and international levels. I think one of the silver linings of what happened in the last 7 years is our ability to really advocate or to develop advocacy abilities as Syrian civil society to be able to get our messages across and change policy. So we were playing the role of a bridge between the needs on the ground of the refugees and the communities on the ground and the policymakers, because what we realized is oftentimes there's a lot of rooms about Syria with no Syrians in them. A lot of policy is designed in the 52nd floor in New York with not real knowledge of what was happening on the ground. So we were trying to bridge as much as we can between the demands of the Syrian on the ground and the needs. In 2017, I think, was the first time we realized that we weren't running a sprint anymore. We have to run a marathon, because every year we were thinking this is going to be the last year, so we're going to go on doing our relief work, our livelihoods work, our medical work. But we realized that actually we need to slow down and take a step back and really reflect on our work and see how we can change our strategy and do something more intentionally, rather than our work being mainly reactive to what was happening. And throughout that pause and that thinking, we realized that maybe this is something I can talk about a little bit later, about the challenges that will face us ahead of our work. But let me go back a step back and say, what were some of the key things that allowed us to be more or less successful in our work in the past years. The first one was, for the first couple of years, and even until now, we were able to mobilize massively on the Syrian diaspora, but also on non-Syrian actors. And by that, I mean that, let's say if our budget was X, our real contribution was X times 5, because we were able to mobilize businessmen, companies, consultancy agency, graphic designers, artists, etc., to give us a lot of our services without us buying them. We were able to capitalize on the diaspora to also organize for us fundraising events, links or meetings with policymakers. So for example, if I knew that I had something in DC, I know I have friends in DC who can get us meetings in Capitol Hill or other. If I had friends in Brussels, Syrians who were in these cities, how to build on their networks to also bring our messages forth, because we are working for the same cause. One of the key success metrics for us is also, we measure our work through our 4 key values at SAWA, which are dignity, ownership, self-determination and integrity. So everything we do, even if it's a post on Facebook or even if it's a program we're delivering, we ask, how is this giving dignity to the communities we are working with? Is this giving them ownership? Are they designing the program themselves? Do they feel like they have the capacity to deliver the program from A to Z? If SAWA stops existing, which is ultimately our vision, is to stop existing, will they be able to take our work and move on with it? So the fact that we have 80% of our staff from the communities, with the communities, working with them is something we take pride in. We worked also, I'm very happy to say that we have used our work in relief and in development not as service provision. So at multiple times throughout the way, we had the chance to grow our work massively. Sorry, can I ask the cameramen to keep their voices down? لو سمحتوا? I can't listen, I can't even hear myself. بس عم تشوشوا علي بس لو سمحتوا. Okay, thank you. So throughout the years, we had the chance and the opportunity to grow our work by opening more schools or more centers, creating more jobs for the refugees. But we really wanted to take a pause and not scale massively, because we keep on reminding ourselves that as civil society, we are not service providers. We are here to do something much more than that, which is to instill values. And our work is inherently political, not political in the sense of are you pro or against or where do you stand. Our work is inherently political because we are dealing with the youth. Today in the refugee camps, we have 85% of the youth who have thought of suicide. Today, as we stand, if there will be election in 18 years, the majority of Syrians will not be able to vote because the majority of them will be illiterate. The teachers who will go back and teach in Syria, we need to make sure we have great access to them today in refugee camps in Lebanon and elsewhere. But tomorrow, when they will go back to Syria, as you know, the political situation is becoming more and more complicated, and so we might not have access to them. So in that sense, we really didn't want to scale our work massively, but we wanted to make sure that all of our work integrates our values. Am I going too fast? Thanks. Sorry for the Arabic translation. The last thing is really one of the silver linings, I think, which I already mentioned, is the ability to grow networks. So, for example, as SAWA, we are part of an organization or part of a network called We Exist, which is an advocacy platform of a lot of Syrian organizations. We came together as a consortia of 4 other organizations, and we came to the EU. We approached them and we said, instead of giving NGOs, we as Syrian organizations can create a success story together. And every time we could read on people's faces that Syrians can't work together, but actually we were proving them wrong every single time, which I think was great. So I think these are the success stories. And I was talking to one of my colleagues thinking about this very initiative. And one of the greatest things, some of the people here I used to see on TV and watch their films or their, some of them are actors, some of them are artists, some of them, I met a Syrian today who lives in Morocco. So now I know if there's a refugee who arrives in Morocco, I know exactly to whom I should talk to. So I think working together has been one of the tremendous success factors. Last but not least, and this is something I'm saying not from a dogmatic perspective, but just in general, I think the intention and measuring our authenticity by stopping after each act, before the act, to set the intention for this act. Why are we doing what we are doing? You want to call it theory of change. For believers, you want to call it niyyah or your intention. Really to measure why we are doing what we are doing, and this will always help us to keep the ego in check and make sure that the work that we are delivering is authentic to the people and authentic towards our vision.
Thanks,
Those are
Ruba.
only
I'm going to come back to you.
To the challenges.
I'm going to come back to you. Thanks, Ruba and Jasmina. We've heard about 2 initiatives. One is taking place in the region and one in Europe. And there are so many other great examples of men and women stepping up and taking the job to provide services, to build peace, to hold those in power accountable. And this is just 2 of the great examples of the Syrian civil society initiative that we definitely need to keep supporting in the future as one of the main solutions to a lot of the challenges that we're facing now and we're going to face later. I know of a lot of the organizations also working in Turkey, working in different parts of Europe, working in Jordan. And I think Jasmina and Ruba today are a great representation of that civil society. But also we have here in the room a lot of the people who have had a lot of great initiatives as well. What I want to now ask Ruba and Jasmina is to tell us how could an effective diaspora network help them do their work and sustain their work in the future, regardless of the situation on the ground. They have gone through a lot of the challenges. I know that they haven't mentioned all of them today because they wanted to focus on the positive, but I know working with them and with others how many challenges they face on a daily basis. What could an effective diaspora network do to help you do your job?
كتير منيح إذا بتصير شبكة عالمية بيناتنا وتبادل نشاطات بين ألمانيا وبين غير دول الأوروبية. هي أولاً. ثانياً الدكتور ناصر حكى بالمناقشة اللي كانت قبلنا هون، حكى على الموضوع تعديل الشهادات مثلاً، أو كورسات لتعديل الشهادات، الدخول إلى الجامعات بأوروبا أو بأمريكا. أنا أعتقد إنه نحن بألمانيا وصلنا على مستوى جيد من هي الناحية، ولذلك هون راح يكون جيد للمستقبل إذا في تعاون بين الدياسبورا السورية بكل الدول الأوروبية وبأمريكا. كمثال المعلم السوري اللي ما ممكن يوصل على تعديل الشهادة بفرنسا مثلا، ممكن يوصل على تعديل الشهادة على الأرض الألمانية. مثلا الطبيب السوري اللي لا وصل على وظيفة على الأرض الألمانية ممكن يقدم ستيب 1 and ستيب 2 ويحصل عمل في أمريكا. هاي بالنسبة للتعاون بين الدياسبورا مهم جدا. وبالإضافة أنه نحن بألمانيا نعاني من مشكلة وهي اللغة الألمانية. لحد الآن كثير من اللاجئين السوريين يعني بيخبروني انه يعني حلوه المانيا والدعم الدولي الالمانيه جيد جدا، وانتم الشعب الالماني منيح كنتوا معنا بالذات بال 2015 استقبلتوا كثير من السوريين بفرح، ولكن اللغه الالمانيه مصيبه لحد الان، وهذه مشكله للاجئين السوريين على الأرض الألمانية حتى بعد 5 أو 6 سنوات. واللغة الألمانية هي مفتاح الاندماج على المجتمع الألماني ومفتاح للعمل على الأرض الألمانية. وكثير من اللاجئين يخبروني أيضاً نحن بألمانيا بالصدفة كان طريقنا إلى كندا أو أمريكا أو بريطانيا، بس للأسف وقفوني بألمانيا.
طيب شكراً جزيلاً. ربا?
Can I go back to the challenges?
You can.
Okay, thank you.
But please then also go back to the diaspora question.
Okay. So just to go back briefly, because I only covered the positive aspects of the challenges of our work. I think throughout the years we were able to massively meet new people through conferences and others, meet a lot of stakeholders who work whether our colleagues and friends of Syria. I know a lot of us have a lot of تحفظات أو a lot of reservations on a lot of big INGOs, a lot of states, but we cannot deny that we have a lot of friends in these organizations and in these countries who have massively helped us throughout the year. If I reflect, I don't know if we have put these relations and these stakeholders who have massively wanted to support us, if we have really taken that support and we're able to capitalize on, because when you have stakeholders asking you, what do you want from me? You need to have an answer to that. And I think in a lot of moments we didn't, because we were in a running mode rather than a reflectionary mode, and things were changing a lot on the ground. One of the other things we suffered from was that we really were categorizing each other as Syrians before knowing how to trust one another and work with one another. Inside or outside, you're from a tribe or not, you're from this area or not. So we lost the social fabric of Syria. We lost the social cohesion that was there. And this is our role as civil society organizations to revive it. Coming to the diaspora idea, it's important here to talk about our future as civil society organizations. First of all, a lot of civil society organizations, Syrians today, are drained. Second of all, unfortunately, despite the fact that Europe has invested a lot of taxpayer money on us civil society organizations that are outside Syria, we have now a real threat of not being able to access Syrians anymore because of the changes in political situation inside Syria and because of the shutdown and crackdown of neighboring countries on civil society organizations. We've been seeing what's happening in Turkey. In the past few days only, there's 21 civil society organizations' bank accounts that were shut. In Lebanon, there's a massive cut down on civil society organizations. And in the future, we will not have, as it stands, as the map stands today, we are not the kind of civil society organizations that will be welcome to work in Syria. So here it's very important to rethink, and this is what we are doing at SAWA, is that we re-strategized our work in order to build bridges between civil society leaders and community leaders in Lebanon and in other countries that have gained all these skills, and civil society and community leaders inside Syria. So our new strategy is to rebuild the social fabric of Syria through giving sectoral and leadership and community participatory approach trainings for Syrians inside Syria, because Lebanon will inherently become the only hub where Syrians can meet and still talk about these things freely. How the diaspora can help? First of all, I think it can provide a safe space for us to speak and discuss our ideas. I think we had a great session this morning. It's still an initial session, but we were brainstorming on where we can build on each other's strengths and where we can help one another in our weaknesses. So it's a safe space where we can talk about our concerns without knowing that no one's going to judge in this room, but we'll also support one another. It is a great network because some of us will keep on doing their political advocacy. Where's Reem? She's here. Some of us will keep on doing the political advocacy all the way. Some of us will continue doing the work on the ground, and we need to build the linkages between the work, because we have all done great work in the past, but I don't think we have harmonized or created synergies between our work in the past. And last but not least, it's going to be a good platform, as the brilliant organizers have already spoken, between linking the money with the intention and talent, with the people who are working on the ground, with those who are trying to bring political change. So I think that's a really good start, and I'm really optimistic.
Lots of great ideas coming. We can talk about this for hours, but I realize that time is running. I don't know if we have time for questions or not. Maybe 2 minutes for questions. About anything that you've heard, or about how to strengthen civil society further, and how can a diaspora network support civil society inside and outside Syria. Any questions at all? If not, I'm going to leave the mic back to my two panelists for, sorry, Bas.
I just want to emphasize a figure you gave us, which is so frightening, and that is that 85% of youth between 15 and 25 have thought of suicide. Yes. Now, this is a really, really frightening perspective, and the question is, is there enough support to help these youth, or is the support inadequate? I don't know. We cannot, I think, leave this session without having addressed just this concern. Thank you.
So just on that question, yes, it is frightening. Unfortunately, a lot of work has been addressed to children, women empowerment, but youth and men have been really kept out of the equation of supporting long-term. So this is why now with livelihoods, the concern of men is being addressed, but the youth category is really still left out. This is why the majority of our programming now is to finding youth from the community and equipping them with leadership, community participation skills, and education, special education, because most of them have been out of schooling for a long time, and they are not only the most vulnerable and at risk, they are also the mostly at risk of violence and of going into delinquency and others. So it is frightening, but I think this is why if we want to look at our business model as SAWA, and all of us sitting in the room, I think L'Oréal, once they asked them, what are you selling? And they said, we are selling hope. Now, I don't know how cosmetic products can do that, but I think for us, we are really like, our business model is to sell hope. So we need each and everyone here in this room to, whoever is passing to Lebanon or to any countries with refugees, even by doing things like, lectures or seminars, or for them to see Syrians that have succeeded, good, the work that some are doing here, even, reaching out to the youth, and through the programs that we are doing. We are trying, but we are a drop in the ocean. So this has really to be a joint effort by everybody in the room. And the figures are frightening, but we are doing the work that we can do.
Thanks, Ruba. And I think also the importance of psychosocial support is being taken on board by so many initiatives. I'm going to leave the mic back to Jasmina for 1 minute for any final thoughts, and then also Ruba 1 minute if you want to conclude with any important points that you haven't mentioned.
Yes, I just would like to say to Dr. Basma that to support the new generation is very important inside of Turkey, Syria, but also in Europe. But because the problem with suicide, we have it in Germany. And we need a big support for the new generation arriving in Germany. A lot of them, they didn't went to school, as you told. So we are really working we can work hand in hand, because inside and outside we have the same problems. And at least I would like to say my last sentence today, the last sentence, but not least, to get the Syrian diaspora together in Germany, for example, is just on the way of culture, because for a political talk, it's not possible to come together, a Syrian diaspora. And that's the reason why culture work in the moment is so important for us in Germany with this big Syrian community. And just a last number about the Syrian community. For my city, before 2011, the Syrian diaspora were just 700 people, and today 20,000.
I think the last word for me, I want to separate it into two. The first is for the Syrians in this room, to say that, the future looks really, really dark, but we have realized that we have at least 50 more years of work, so we're going to need one another, that's for sure. For the non-Syrians, I would say that please don't stop believing in us, because we are, as civil society, we are in real danger now, because our frenemies, I don't want to use the word enemies, but they are claiming, or they have already won militarily and politically, and now what's happening is there is a creation of a whole new civil society out of nowhere that doesn't believe in any of the values that we all share. So let's keep in mind that we are the civil society, not only us, but people like us who believe in the values of pluralism, and the values of democracy, of freedom, of the values that we have been working for in 7 years. And even if we don't have access to Syria, we still have access to Syrians. So you shouldn't lose hope in working with us.